Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at something so subtly powerful, you probably experience it literally every single day without even realizing it's happening. We are unpacking the hidden psychology of eco-friendly branding. You see, there's this unspoken, nonverbal visual language that these brands use to grab our attention, and honestly, it is absolutely fascinating once you know exactly what to look for. Picture this. You're walking down a grocery store aisle. How do you spot an eco-friendly product without actually reading a single label? You're scanning past, hundreds of products, and almost instinctively, your eyes catch certain items that just feel natural. You instantly notice those muted, earthy color palettes, right? You spot the soft, curved lines of the packaging. But why does our brain do this? Why do we immediately link these specific visual cues with something being good for the earth and good for us? Well, that is exactly the mystery we are going to solve today. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it frames our first section, the science of biophilia, tapping into evolutionary instincts. To answer that question of why we're drawn to these packages, we kind of have to move away from surface level marketing and plunge deep into our own evolutionary psychology. This isn't just about making a bottle look pretty on a shelf. It is quite literally about survival instincts. The whole shebang comes down to what's called the biophilia hypothesis. Biologist Edward O. Wilson introduced this idea to a wider audience, and basically it's the innate human tendency to seek connections with nature and other forms of life. Think about our ancient ancestors for a second. Their survival depended on a really deep, intuitive understanding of the natural world. Recognizing signs of life meant finding food, finding water, and staying safe. Fast forward to our modern tech-obsessed lives, and guess what? That ancient instinct hasn't gone anywhere. When we see natural patterns, we subconsciously feel this sense of calm and safety. Modern eco-friendly brands are deliberately triggering this ancient wiring in our brains. You can really see how this plays out when we break down the shapes themselves. On one side, we've got natural forms. Think biomorphic curves, the gentle bend of a riverbank or the organic, asymmetrical shape of a leaf. These shapes scream warmth, safety, and vitality. They feel perfectly imperfect. On the flip side, look at geometric forms. Perfect circles, sharp triangles, rigid squares. These represent human construction. They scream technology. Sure, they communicate efficiency, but they can also feel pretty cold, artificial, or honestly, even threatening. Just imagine an organic BB food company using a sharp, neon, angular triangle as a logo. It creates total cognitive dissonance. Your brain literally screams synthetic, even if the label swears it's 100% organic. Moving right along to Section 2, the language of design, and how brands communicate core values. So, okay, we get the deep evolutionary psychology part. But how do brands actually resurface this to talk to us today? Well, they use it to instantly communicate their core mission to us, the highly skeptical, totally time-strapped modern consumer. These visual cues act as a massive nonverbal shortcut for three huge things. Number one, authenticity against greenwashing. Consumers are rightfully terrified of being tricked by fake eco-claims, right? So brands use literal visual proof. When a brand uses a textured wood grain background or, say, uncoated rough recycled paper, it instantly feels genuine and way less processed. Number two, it shows a real commitment to sustainability. Using universal symbols of the earth, like a simple water droplet or a tree, is essentially a visual pledge. And number three, it creates a powerful association with health and wellness. When we see blue and green palettes, our minds leap straight to clean water and lush landscapes. It's basically telling us the product is pure and safe way before we've even read a single ingredient on the back. Which brings us to Section 3, differentiating in a crowd, building a unique persona. But here is the catch. Because sustainability has totally shifted from a niche interest to a mainstream expectation, the marketplace is absolutely flooded. Standing out is a real game changer now. Just looking generally eco-friendly just doesn't cut it anymore. Brands really have to carve out highly specific natural identities to differentiate themselves. So we see three completely different natural motifs emerge to solve this puzzle. First, we have the rugged mountain. This is all about sharp peaks, stone, and sky palettes signaling serious adventure and extreme performance. Then you've got the healing forest. Think soft mossy greens, imagery of ancient trees. This signals a calm, gentle touch, perfect for something like natural skincare. And finally, the vibrant ocean. Flowing wave patterns, deep marine blues, projecting sheer energy and vitality. Choosing between a mountain, a forest, or an ocean lets a brand attract completely different consumer tribes. It builds this intense, specific brand loyalty that translates across absolutely everything: their website, their ads, and the physical packaging. Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds into brands doing it right, achieving real-world market success.
Let's look at how this actually translates to market dominance. We're going to dive into a rapid-fire sequence of some truly iconic brands that have absolutely nailed this visual strategy to separate themselves from the pack. First up, Patagonia. Look at this. They use a photorealistic, jagged Fitzroy Mountain silhouette. This is a brilliant, real-world execution of that rugged mountain persona we just talked about. Patagonia isn't trying to be some soft, delicate brand. No way. They make high-performance outdoor gear. By utilizing this sharp, powerful, wild, natural design, they totally separate themselves from the gentle eco-brands. They're speaking directly to high-performance adventurers, communicating without a single word that their gear is as tough and durable as the untamed nature it's literally designed for.
Now let's contrast that sharply with Burt's Bees. Their visual identity relies on these photorealistic honeycombs, really warm, rustic wood grain textures, and this honest-to-goodness, cheerful honey yellow palette. It is a completely different emotional vibe from Patagonia. They even feature a portrait of their founder, Burt. This, combined with their homespun, kind of unpolished typography, creates an instantly gentle, personal, and trustworthy identity. I mean, it feels like you bought it directly from a local farmer at a Sunday market, not a massive global corporation. It tells you instantly that this personal care product is wholesome, safe, and made with care. And this brilliantly illustrates our third example, Seventh Generation. Now notice what is actually missing in their visual strategy here. There are no loud colors, no exaggerated graphics. Instead, their entire identity is built on clean white space, a simple minimalist green leaf, and totally clear transparent typography. This lack of visual clutter, it is highly deliberate. It visually guarantees calm competence and household safety. It basically tells the consumer, hey, our products are so effective and pure, we really don't need to shout at you. It is literally the perfect nonverbal reassurance for a parent buying household cleaners. So where is all of this heading in the future? Well, we're definitely going to see the rise of more abstract, natural designs and what's being called digital biophilia, which is essentially bringing these natural, calming textures and shapes directly into our web and app experiences. Pretty cool, right? But the core foundation, that will remain completely unchanging. The ultimate goal of this visual language is and always will be authentic environmental storytelling. At the end of the day, it's about communicating a profound, genuine respect for the planet. Which brings us to a final, pretty big question. Next time you reach for an eco-friendly product, I want you to ask yourself, are you actually buying the ingredients, or are you just buying the shape of the bottle? It's a fascinating thing to consider, isn't it? Our brains are constantly being guided by these ancient evolutionary instincts, subtly nudged at the clever use of a curve, a little wood grain texture, or a very specific shade of green. I really hope this explainer leaves you completely rethinking your daily consumer habits and maybe even changes the way you look at store shelves forever. Thanks so much for exploring the hidden language of nature with me today.